Hello, everybody.
All right. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Pivotal. This is the second time we're having Pivotal on. I'm Harry. I run this series for Blue Dot Impact. Quick context is Blue Dot Impact is a nonprofit. We train people to work in AI safety. We run courses in AGI preparedness, technical AI safety, AI governance, biosecurity. And this series, we bring on an AI safety org and let them talk about what they do and how to get involved with them. So today we've got Tillman Reuker, co-director of Pivotal Research. Pivotal runs a 9-week fully funded research fellowship in London across technical safety, governance, and bio. Their 2026 Q3 cohort applications close in May 3rd. So this is well timed if you're thinking about applying. I'm going to hand it over to Tillman, who has a presentation on what Pivotal does and how you can get into AI safety research fast.
Brilliant. Thanks for the intro, Harry. Awesome. Yeah. Just like Harry said, talking about getting into a safety research fast before I intro myself. We have a Slido link. You can find it here on the slide. Please submit questions. We have sometimes in the end where I will cover a few of the questions that maybe amount throughout the talk. Brilliant. Yeah. Who am I? What is Pivotal? Yeah, I co-run Pivotal. Our mission is to reduce risk from transformative technology. And like Harry mentioned, we do this by offering a research program where we focus on connecting like early career or like mid-career, pivoting mid-career professionals to work on the most important topics of our times together with established mentors. I myself pivoted into doing AI safety before I was on my way to become a radio frequency engineer. I really liked antennas before I decided that I wanted to spend my time doing AI safety research myself. Here I have like a nice slide where fellows of our past cohorts went. We'll talk about this a little bit later. Awesome. Okay, let me see. What I will cover in the presentations is I want to give you like a little bit of an overview of how I think about AI safety today. I want to give you concrete advice on upskilling into AI safety research, how to write good applications, how to write good research proposals. I will cover this a little bit. And sorry, I'm technology of today. It's too much for me. Yeah, and then in the end, how our fellowships accelerate the career of our participants, at least historically, and yeah, like an overview of our fellowships that we're offering this year. Awesome. Yeah, and then in the end, of course, the questions that you have in Slido. Okay, so the first case that I would make is that AI safety is currently not winning or not necessarily winning. What I mean with AI safety is sort of the interdisciplinary field focused on ensuring that AI systems are developed and deployed in ways that are beneficial to humanity. And if I put myself in the shoes of someone who is right now excited about getting into AI safety, I maybe think, oh yeah, it feels like there's like tons of people who are doing already some work in AI safety. There's like papers maybe being published or posts being written. Maybe even I get the feeling that the space is saturated. Like a marginal person can't have maybe that much impact when doing AI safety research. But yeah, I would just make the case that this is not true, and that we still struggle with like finding people who can do good research or like drive good projects forward, and that we still struggle with them in AI safety. And I have a few cases for this. So case number one, a recent Frontier Lab was like a Frontier Lab recently tried to hire for an AI safety researcher in like a very specific domain. And of course, like a Frontier Lab they got like a tons of applications, but in the end, they only made the offer to like one candidate. And they mentioned that if the candidate wouldn't have accepted the position, they just wouldn't have filled the position at all because none of the other candidates were like on par with like the standards that they want to hold up high in the AI safety research that we're doing. That seems pretty bad. We definitely want there to be like more than one person who is like able to join like a safety team. And this was like, yeah, I thought this was not great. Another case is a Frontier Lab hiring someone for a very specific threat with AI models, and that person's background that they ultimately hired was the threat model was very much out of sight of the expertise. Initially, I thought it was comedically outside of their expertise, but still sort of this person was obviously still very capable, but ultimately not like the traditional hire that you wanted to have seen for this type of role. And then the last case that I would make is that many important areas within a safety don't have a responsible person. And what I mean with like a responsible person is if you think back 2 years within AI safety and you thought, who is the responsible person for the problem that we have with AI models, which is deception, that AI models are deceiving their users. And 2 years ago, the answer wouldn't have been like straightforward, but maybe you like one of like a good answer to the question would have been Marius Hoppan is the responsible person. Marius, of course, being today the CEO of Apollo Research, like a whole organization that is devoted to understanding deception in AI. Marius being sort of the responsible person was back in the day like really important for establishing that as a field. And I would make the case that current gaps or like there are current gaps in AI safety that egregiously lack like this responsible person. Having these talent gaps in AI safety is particularly bad because AGI is likely coming soon. As most of you, I think, have like participated in Blue Dot to some degree or maybe engaged with AI safety. There are like people who do like these forecasts and they assume that it could be like happening in the next 3 to 4 years that we achieve some form of AGI. Yeah, I think this is like a whole different debate, similar to the question of if it's poses a catastrophic risk. The risk being assumed to be not significantly below 1% seems pretty seems pretty bad for society, like something that I definitely wouldn't want to have. And then if you look around what experts predict currently as catastrophic risk through AI, it seems significantly above 1%, which is yeah, not a great state to be in for society. Yeah, and what I mean with catastrophic risk, it's risk of reducing the potential of the future of humanity. So having devastating effects on humanity and its development. Now, pulling a little bit back and thinking about AI safety as an interdisciplinary field, what does that mean? There's different ways of how you can separate AI safety in these different fields. Like one I chose here is thinking about technical AI safety, AI governance, and then the intersection of both technical AI governance. You have these like as overarching categories. Within those, you have single fields. So, for example, alignment. And within alignment, you maybe have like a subtopic, which is scalable oversight or a subfield. If we now look at AI safety, we see that all fields are require different backgrounds or knowledge prerequisites. So maybe starting with like a good example for this, what is an ideal background in technical AI safety seems to be maybe something like a CS degree or like a master's degree. And within AI governance, maybe something like a degree in international relations. All fields are on different levels of how established they are, which definitely correlates a little bit with the ideal background that maybe they bring. An established field usually has some version of a degree that is maybe like pinned to it or that you can pin to it. So thinking, for example, about within AI governance economy, seems like an economy degree is probably like a really good prerequisite. It's a very established field and seems like a great place to get like prerequisites for this domain. If you think about scalable oversight, there doesn't like, except for machine learning or like normal experience that you gain with machine learning, there's maybe like not a degree where you can get things that are immediately applicable to this domain, similar to explosive growth, for example, what you can learn about explosive growth in economy. A last point that also relates very strongly with both of these previous points is how much effort is required to get into the field. And this is maybe interesting to look at like cases where this is like not the case, where you need where like a very established field needs more or less effort to get into. So if you think about AI diffusion models, diffusion models is not extremely established. I don't know how long they exist. I would guess maybe like 10 years, maybe 15. but they are pretty complicated. If you look at diffusion model papers, they are difficult to understand. So they require some more effort to get into compared to, for example, a capability evaluation paper, which requires, in comparison, less effort. I would say. Maybe people might disagree to this. Now I want to think with alongside these fields how you can get into AI safety. And before I give you sort of the practical advice that I want to talk about, I want to give you a pretext to this, which is everybody's situation is different for getting into AI safety. You will have your own life, you have your own experiences, your own circumstances that you're navigating around. And you should view getting into AI safety maybe like a constraint optimization problem, which means maybe everyone here shares roughly a similar goal, which is getting a full-time position in AI safety, having impact with your career. But maybe you have like considerations that are uniquely to you. And when I give like the advice and the tips, you should think a little bit like, okay, my specific situation, of course, requires something different, but that doesn't mean that nothing here is applicable. It's just that I need to like navigate around this. So, for example, maybe you can't leave Germany, the city of Hanover, where you are living, and then you're thinking, okay, every advice that Tilman is giving here in the slide deck has to be biased by me being in Hanover doing this or trying to do this from Hanover. I will also, giving this advice, talk a little bit about like the common pitfalls. And yeah, in the end, it's about being skillful in applying like the tips or whatever I'm saying soon. Okay, let's look at the cheat sheet, how to get into AI safety. So what I will be looking at is on the left side, I will describe the situation that you may be in. And then on the right side, I will go through the domains within AI safety, starting from unestablished to going over to very established domains. And then, yeah, give basically my recommendation based on your situation and the field that you are excited about getting into. I want to quickly say this before talking about this, that most of the areas in AI safety are just like in the unestablished or medium established domain. Like very few areas in AI safety are very established just because AIs are just like not a thing or haven't been a thing for like a long time. But it's still reasonable to go through it either way and quickly talk about this. And let's start with level 0 of where you are maybe right now or where you were maybe like a few months ago or something along those lines, where your situation is you have no AI safety knowledge and you have no experience in any area related to anything within AI safety. So no experience in machine learning, nothing in physics, international policy, and in the end, you have also no one to talk to about AI safety. So independent of what you're excited about which area you're excited about, you should probably just do a Blue Dot course. I assume that most of you are already on this because you found about this event somehow. If not, I can wholeheartedly recommend the Blue Dot courses. I think most of the people who are doing impactful work in AI safety right now have had like some interactions with Blue Dot, is my guess at least. Just like something very easy to recommend since it has like such a good track record of eliciting like cool people doing important stuff. Actually, I think I take the prediction back that most people did a Blue Dot course. I'm actually not sure. Maybe I should look into this. It definitely has an awesome track record. So good for you for being already in some sense related to it. When you have no AI safety knowledge and no experience in any area related, you should also definitely start talking with people about AI safety. That seems like also a very good way of getting a little bit of traction in like your models how you think about AI safety and what you ultimately also care about. Because in the end, you need to figure out in which direction you maybe want to move when you're going into AI safety. Let's move on to level 1, where you maybe did all of these things and now you have AI safety knowledge, but still no no experience anywhere else. What could you do in this scenario? In the areas that are not extremely established or don't have a really solid basis of what you can do, I would just recommend to you to do a lot of hackathons, boot camps. I call this like easy ways to get your hands dirty. Yeah, it seems like this is one of the best ways of for you to figure out what you are excited about. It is the best way of getting some experience in these domains that you maybe want to go into within AI safety. In the end, yeah, the main goal is to sort of start building, getting for yourself a track record of doing things that are important in AI safety, and you getting the knowledge about how to achieve like these outputs that you're creating. I would also recommend you to go to events, understand what other people are doing, and like getting maybe like a full-on view of AI safety. Like I said, especially like if in the areas that are like unestablished or medium established, which here is still pretty unestablished. Lots of this tacit knowledge is not written down somewhere, and talking with these people is like the best way of understanding how to currently think navigate this field. You have some AI safety knowledge, and now you realize that the field that you're excited about is very established, but it's the one that you are like definitely most excited about. So an example of this is US-China diplomacy. You realize that this is to your definition like the most impactful. You are very excited about this, but you kind of realize that you need to have a significant track record to do anything in the space. You need to speak Mandarin. You maybe you figure this out. Actually, I think this is not the case that everyone in US-China diplomacy can speak Mandarin, but you maybe get this feedback that there's like that you need maybe like a graduate degree in international relations in order to be like a significant player in this area. Then you probably want to figure out like early on if you need to pursue like a different degree for this. Writing this down feels like not extremely wise, but I wanted to bias this because this can be the case. I think it's pretty rare that you need to do a degree to do something. You should not forget that a degree is a like very long commitment to do something. And in the world where it's not playing out that this is like the thing you're most excited about, it is maybe something that you will regret doing. And very often you can bypass not having a degree to some level, right? To some degree. So be really careful about this, but I want to definitely write it down for the rare cases where you want to join like in a very established field, and a degree seems like the canonical thing to do if you want to get into this. So what does level 2 look like afterwards? You are now like with AI safety knowledge, and you have some nascent experience in some domain. Here, like the assumptions of being on this level is that you want to do research, right? You are now serious about this. This is something where you see that you have already some traction and you find it like somewhat exciting. And you maybe even have the direction like pointed out somehow, like which you want to go into. Looking at what you would do as an in unestablished domains, you maybe would directly apply to positions. If there is an unestablished domain and you have some experience in this domain and it's truly unestablished, then people would probably be pretty excited to talk with you because no one else is currently on that ball. No one has like a good understanding of it, and you are maybe like the only person who is this. In this world, it's like possible that you are just like a very good hire for like being the first person to care about this in a company. So what is a good example of this is imagine caring a lot about AI welfare like 3 years ago. I think there were like, I could be wrong, but I think there were basically not a lot of people who posted about, talked about this at all. There was definitely not a public discourse. If you were like really into AI welfare back then, you had like outputs and talked about this vividly, I think it's fairly likely that you would be on the radar of like basically all the organizations that care about this, including Anthropic, but also Ilios, of course. Maybe you would have been like one of the founding members of these of the teams or these organizations themselves if you were early enough directly involved in a very unestablished field. Thinking about like a medium established field and you have some nascent experience, one goal can be just to do a fellowship. I think this is like the canonical advice of you have some experience, you take it pretty serious, and you want to do it now like in a also more serious fashion. Doing these research programs in any capacity seems like pretty valuable. You can also directly apply to positions here, and this is definitely also possible depending on your background. This is like still a little bit under the assumption that you don't have like really a strong background in a domain that is relevant for you, but definitely exceptions like definitely exist. And then going to the last front, which is very established, you have some nascent experience. Now you have to be kind of confident if you need to get a degree. Independent of how established the field is that you're excited about joining, when you apply to or when you try to get into these things, continue doing hackathons and like and programs and everything that allows you to get your hands dirty. Get some reps in this is here the premise. This will be just like beneficial for you if you figure out that you maybe don't have enough nascent experience in some domain, you just benefit from learning more, is the bottom line here. Okay, what does level 3 now look like? You maybe did any of these, and now you have significant experience in some AI safety domain. In the case where you have significant experience in some AI safety domain in a very established field, I would say consider starting a research group or a research org to leverage this knowledge to make progress in this domain of AI safety. Of course, this is like not an easy sell because starting an org definitely is more than just doing research, right? It's entrepreneurship. But I want to put it out there that like if you have these experiences, I think you should like strongly consider leveraging a group of people who you maybe teach about the AI safety domain to make some progress in this domain. If you have significant experience, medium established domain, apply directly to positions should be possible. Interestingly, if you have significant experience and the domain is very established, now maybe it's a good moment to look into fellowships and look into positions where you can unfold this knowledge and use it really wisely. Similar to the previous step, when you do like the applications, just continue doing research. This will basically be always helpful if you just add on to the track record of things that you care about and that you thought about. I think very, very easy to recommend. Okay, this is it. If you follow this, you'll be doing full-time research. Is my intuitions. Maybe there's like some important caveats that I'm not considering here, but it's like a very straightforward path for going into having very little experience to being an expert in some domain and working in it full time. Please note that this is mostly for research. You can, at any point in time doing this, consider going into like a different line of work. So, for example, grant making, any form of field building. There's like the horizon is wide of things that you can do that are not research but are very impactful for AI safety. But lingering on doing research specifically here, let's think about what can go wrong doing this. And I will go through like scenarios and these will sort of add on top of each other in the sense of if you solve the first one, maybe the second one starts appearing, and even if you have both of the first two solved, the third one could be the one that breaks your leg. Look at them. You struggle to find an area that you like. Maybe you struggle to find the area that you want to do like hackathons in, like a fellowship on, and that is like the thing that you think holds you most back. I have here a meme that was shared with my brother, who's funnily in AI governance, which reads, "We don't do AI strategy because it's easy. We do it because we thought it would be easy." I think struggling to find an area that you like is basically fine. I think you should not think about yourself as someone who needs to do AI safety research. If you look long for opportunities where you can have an impact that you are excited about, and you really struggle to find something that is more exciting than the thing was that you maybe started out with, maybe could be baking, right? Maybe you were a baker before. You don't need to force yourself to AI to go into AI safety. And I would really recommend here to be gentle with yourself if you struggle with this. However, I will say that from experience, I think people who think this probably didn't explore enough. And I will say it is like an explore exploit problem. If you, for example, started like me and did an undergrad in electrical engineering and got into antennas, and after like a year of trying to, or like half a year of like doing different stuff, different hackathons and bootcamps within AI safety, I realized that nothing is like as exciting as like electrical engineering. It would be like pretty surprising, right? Imagine I was able, like at age 18, to kind of make a good judgment call about what will be like the passion for the rest of my life. So I would probably say like, yeah, you need to like figure this out more. Similarly, I would try to disentangle enjoyment from like being good at something. I call it here, don't anchor enjoyment on mastery. Think about like a chess grandmaster, right? Who's playing obviously like world-class chess. They probably enjoy playing chess. They probably don't enjoy playing chess on grandmaster level. They like probably chess way before they started to become like really good at it. And similar, um, it is here like what you should maybe consider when thinking about these areas that you want to work in, right? You probably want to work in this even before you are gaining you're getting a lot of fruit. So what's the go-to move? In if you struggle with this, explore more, talk with people about their jobs, and get to know yourself. Getting to know yourself sounds here a little bit. I hope you don't hear my snoring dog next to me. It's fairly loud on my side. Getting to know yourself here means, yeah, doing a lot of reps of going into different areas in AI safety um, and understanding if you enjoy the work that they're doing. Maybe the next thing that is bottlenecking you is that you think that your work is bad. Here, I would say, don't confuse data points with gradients. Like if you do some research and you don't think it's really great, then that would be what I basically expect on baseline if you never have done it before, right? If you start doing this something for the first time, would it be extremely confusing if you were already a world class early on? Don't confuse data points with gradients. What I mean here is, if you start something and you suck at it, you collect this as a data point and you do it the next time and you suck at it still, but you are like maybe slightly better at it or slightly faster at it, then you suddenly have like a gradient that you can maybe extrapolate and figure out that actually if you continue doing something, you would be kind of good at it um, just in due time. If you think that your work is bad, I would also heavily question if you are able to assess if your ability of assessing if the work is bad or has impact or quality. You get this usually from mentors that you trust, from the community, and they may be also bad at it, right? The case for a safety research is often that we kind of can't really tell what's impactful because most of the risks of AI haven't like truly realized, right? We haven't had like a big catastrophe with AI yet. And the last thing of if you think that your work is bad is that depending on how you think about your research, it might be just a number game. So if you, for example, go like an academic route and you care about impact in the sense of that you want your publications to have like high, that they're getting like lots of citations. It could be simply the case that you need to write like a few more papers to kind of understand what the community is resonating with. Like one of our past mentors said this, that he thinks that 10 of his outputs, where he put like 10 for every output, the same effort in, like had the same like belief that this was like an impactful contribution to AI safety, only one got like the resonance from the community in terms of citations that he would have hoped every one of those got. Lesson here is maybe like don't create slop, but also don't expect everything to be a hit. And what you should learn from this is get enough reps in, do things often. Only then you can kind of understand where the journey will lead for you. Okay, your work is good. You found something that you kind of like, but you maybe still fail to advance even though you work really hard on this. What could go wrong here is basically like a whole section of did you publish your results? Yes. Did you get did you get good feedback on those? No. Did you got did you seek for mentors to give you feedback or did you ask the community or like trusted friends to give you feedback? Maybe. What I'm saying here is getting feedback for what you want to do is an essential element of trying to of becoming better at it, right? If you think about like your data points that you're collecting, you could maybe yourself see like a trajectory where you're going, but if you have like feedback that helps you create like better outputs in the future, then you can get steeper gradients and learn quicker to become like a truly awesome like researcher. What you should learn from this is that you need to probably share your results like a lot more and like share things a lot more aggressively, but also that you need to do it often and you need to get reps in and uh, in asking for feedback in order to get better feedback and learn better from past failures. Okay, you found something that you like. What was the previous slide? Your work is not bad. You still, or at least you have like a better intuition of if your work is bad. You got like enough reps in, and you get actually like feedback on the things that you write. Maybe you are not actually applying to the right positions. And I now want to talk like a little bit about what applying looks like, and yeah, I want to basically share a little bit of my takes here. The first thing that you should think about in hiring is you should think that it's internally, like it's pretty noisy. It's like a difficult process. Like the people who try to make hiring decisions are not perfect predictors of talent, right? They kind of see you through a lens of your CV and the application that you write. But beyond that, they don't know the track record that you have, or like they maybe don't see the history, like how steep your internal gradient is of becoming like a better researcher. A lot of things are lost on them. So the first thing that when you're applying, what you should do is to fix your CV for them to make it to be as easy as possible to see why you're like a good hire for like a specific role. I wrote here like the prompt, which is a little bit tongue in cheek, right? Claude, fix my CV, make no mistakes. I think it's just like a baseline recommendation to have a nice CV. When you apply to positions and you are getting rejected at various stages, let's think a little bit about like what it means to be thrown out at any stage. So maybe if you are not passing the first stage, for example, maybe you are literally not in the target yet. Maybe you are not the type of maybe you are not at the level that you're currently assuming that you are, and you actually need to get like more reps and you need to do more research for the research that you're excited about. Of course, this is noisy. That doesn't have to be the case across the board if you're getting rejected at the first stage. But if you are consistently getting rejected at the first stage, I think you should take this as a signal that you maybe need to consider at what stage of your AI safety career you are at, especially if it's for similar, or of course, mostly if it's for similar level positions. If you are not passing the coding test, which I don't know if these are still happening a lot, but if you're not passing these, then you can get this as an evidence that you need to improve in coding. If you are not passing the final interview, I think you're maybe actually like in a really good position already for a job. I mean, I wouldn't give you a blank check that it's like noise, purely noise at this point. You can definitely improve your final interview, giving final interview abilities. But if you are like at a final interview, you pass all the previous stages, you're probably like pretty close to being fully hired. And I would just like hope that you stick to it, because I guess that, yeah, I can totally understand that it's like particularly frustrating to be at the final stage a bunch of times in a row. Um, Being on the point of applying, I want to make one point like pretty I want to ingrain it in everyone's of your heads, which is to please don't use language models for writing any part of your applications. It's also ironic because I two bullet points before told you or recommended you to to use Claude to fix your CV. People who look at applications all day are probably like pretty capable in like understanding who like wrote things on their own behalf and like from their own voice, and who did like use AI to generate answers. At least for us, the experience has been that it's like extremely easy to tell like who used like heavy AI in the process of like writing applications and like talking with other hiring managers. They're also like very easy to spot it. And I would, if I was in your position, I would very strongly think about like if I'm able to tell that output that I just created was truly made by me or by AI, because maybe for you it's marginal. Maybe you think, oh yeah, actually, this could totally be written by me. I would very strongly consider for you to consider not relying on that gut intuition that it could actually be written by you, because like I mentioned, it's like often like fairly easy to see if someone used language models when writing applications. So don't do it. Yeah, of course, it could be that all the people that uh, like we are taking are always using AI to writing this, and AI writing is not like fundamentally wrong or flawed. However, it's like often on the side where you convey less information than if you just wrote us the bullet points of what you would give him Claude to prompt or ChatGPT. For research proposals, one specific advice I want to give you, that a really good research proposal reads like having done sort of the first 10% of the work that you want to do with the research. So that you put in the first 10% of legwork that is required um, to do the research that you're excited about. There's more of a rule of thumb in case you are like already in the business of writing research proposals. Okay, we are already a little bit over time, but let's wrap this up. Let's think very quickly about how does Pivotal manage to get people from fellowships into full-time AI safety, and about all these things that I mentioned before, how we at Pivotal have been so far doing succeeded at doing this, succeeded or failed. So one important thing is learning about AI safety and your course area. That is sort of the important thing if you want to go from level 1 to 2, or also 0 to 1. And in our past fellowships, when we asked fellows to rate it before and after the fellowship, how much they know about the research topic, about global catastrophic risks, about their course area, about air safety, they reported on average like a 1.2 increase in their knowledge, which is a good indicator that they actually got something from that they learned something during the fellowship. Another really nice thing that you get through fellowships is that you create a banger research output. Actually, it doesn't have to be necessarily research, but it's often a great output. And here you should think about either you maybe pass the academic route, which is, you want to write a nice paper, you want to have something that is like easily citable by a lot of people, or you write a forum post, which is more the case for my topic is actually like fairly underdeveloped and it's only important for 10 people, 10 crucial people to read it and understand it and like act on it well. And then yeah, writing this in a forum post is maybe like suitable and you don't have to go the whole conference route like ICML, NERPS, ICLR. Also something that you get through fellowships is to have a community of people who learn with you the secret judo of air safety. So what do I mean with secret judo of air safety? I alluded to it in a previous slide, in a previous talking point a little bit, that there's often some intuitions in air safety that are just like not written, that are communicated because they are like very recent finding. There are intuitions that people have had over like the last few years that are maybe difficult to like put in a really nice post or like writing it in post would take a lot of time and like explaining it on a whiteboard is maybe like more important. Either way, you want to have like this tacit knowledge of being able to talk about air safety well. And I think that it's like very helpful to have a community of people to talk about this. Similarly, if you have a community of people around you that you work very close with for 9 weeks, they also help you in staying with AI safety, and they I don't want to say they prevent you from quitting prematurely because they don't prevent you. They kind of help you to not lose the motivation for going into AI safety surely prematurely. And that is also like something that we are very excited about at Pivotal. Like a reason like gauge from me looked like that roughly 90% of our pivotal alumni are still working in AI safety, which is a great statistic in my opinion. When thinking like talking about people like hanging together and like sticking together, there's a very nice German idiom which is geteiltes Leid ist halbes Leid, which means that shared sorrow is sorrow in half or like half sorrow, which I think is also like very like a very underappreciated aspect of these fellowships where you realize that there's other extremely cool and extremely capable people within air safety, and that they also like struggle with maybe like finding like the results that they want to find, that they also struggle with going into the positions that they're excited about. Good German idiom, I think, doesn't exist in English. Yeah, like I mentioned before, they help you accelerate their learning. We have like a nice statistic on that, that the co-working space where the statistic is, where the fellowship is happening, was rated fairly highly for how valuable they found it. Community was rated equally as high, similarly high. And of course, something that you get from having a community around you is that you have a pool of future collaborators that you can basically always use to bounce ideas off of. And similarly, this community can just act as a feedback mechanism, as a feedback machine for you, because these people trust you, you trust them, and they know that you would benefit a lot from the feedback. So they're probably more than happy to give it to you. Yeah, our track record in doing this is very good. I think I probably cut short talking about like individual fellows. What I want you to take away from this is that probably like one crucial part of getting into a safety is getting your hands dirty. This is maybe like more of a side point, but you can probably bet a little bit on automated AI research. It's some of the base assumptions that you maybe have if you think about short timelines and things happening fairly quick, fairly soon. So use that for your advantage. Get in a lot of reps in doing this, and that's it. It's kind of not that deep, is what is what I would call it. That being said, yeah, I'm thankful that you took the time and listened to me talk for the last 45 minutes. I want to make a quick shout out that the applications for our fellowships are open for one more week, just like Harry mentioned in the beginning. We will also run a Frontier Biodefense Fellowship for the first time this summer. Application is open for this soon. If you want to stay up to date with this, you can put in your mail at or subscribe to our newsletter at get.pivo.tl. Yeah, and maybe like the last note is that you being interested in this, listening to me talk about this for the last 45 minutes is truly awesome. Like I'm really excited about this. You wanting to get into air safety is for me like a great signal that things are like going well or going maybe a little bit better. And I'm really truly rooting for you and for your success of doing impactful stuff in air safety. All right.
All right.
Um,
Thank you so much, Tillman. We have time for a few questions, so I'm just going to read some out from the Slido. The first question is, what are the most common ways mid-career people waste time when they pivot into AI safety?
how mid-career people waste time. Yeah, do you like mid-career people here being people that are maybe like on level two, they have like some, or like maybe they have like some existing expertise and they want to get into air safety?
I would say
Would you
so.
get that? Yeah. Yeah, I would think that like mid-career people are probably not wasting a lot of time if they're already like committing. I think most mid-career people are just find it like difficult to commit because if you have like an existing career in some domain, in the end, it's just like very hard to make, for example, the case that you want to leave everything of that behind and just like do a safety from ground zero. But if I think about like someone who's already committed, you could very easily waste time by trying to stick to your domain in spirit. So I thought about this like for like a hot minute when went into air safety, even though I was not mid career, I was also early career in my previous life. That I kind of thought like, yeah, maybe antennas could be like important anywhere in air safety, and maybe there would have been like a case for like hardware security because antennas have like maybe like similar problems to work with in some vicinity. And sticking to that just like leads to you just like not having a lot of impact because you try to view everything through the lens that you've been taught with.
Thank you. Another question is, what kind of personal projects in AI safety can someone work on as a beginner?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are like so I think the case for like personal project that you can work on is like a question of like which area you are excited about and like what domains you want to thread. Yeah, my gut intuition is that like most of the areas that I maybe like sketched on in this presentation and that are sort of like clearly cutted from the rest of or that have like a specific domain in AI safety have maybe like posts on them online, and there's like sometimes papers called open problems in technical AI governance, for example. These are like great starting points. Yeah, I would probably, if you are excited about like a domain, I would look into if there's like a bootcamp that is maybe like touching on this, and they usually do like an effort to trying to find like project that you can do within that also like yeah work great. They are like not explored or they would benefit from people like doing this more, and then you can have at the same time like impact with your new project and, uh, and get your hands a little bit dirty.
Amazing. A lot of people have questions about non-technical, and I know Pivotal does mostly technical research, but if you are an aspiring outside of technical research person, where are the fellowships or sort of like opportunities to pivot? What do you usually recommend?
Mm. Yeah, so at Pivotal, we do definitely have a heart for non-technical people, and our governance track is usually like pretty strong. Or we have like cool people or like cool mentors. I guess we don't get we don't know all the talent that we're missing when we're saying that we get like good applications. We definitely want more people to apply. For like like a governance person to get their hands dirty, it's like a little bit more on the route of like which area of governance are you looking at, and then like evaluating if it's like an area that requires like an extra degree or so. In my understanding, I would treat it like very similar to technical work, where the skill of like writing white papers or like opinion pieces or like strategy pieces, which is like also often non-technical. That is just very analog to technical work, where someone has to do legwork, has to do a little bit of like pre-reading and understanding the field well, and then yeah, visiting a boot camp and doing that and understanding which questions are interesting in the non-technical area.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Do you want to speak a little bit more on like the specific roles outside of technical research? So, like you mentioned governance, but like what would that look like day to day, and also outside of governance?
Mhm. Yeah. So I guess the range of projects that you can do that are like non-technical and like within governance, I guess a lot of them are actually like outside of my like immediate like range of knowledge, like what they look like. I'm the technical side on Pivotal. We have maybe James with us who maybe like can jump in and talk a little bit about it. He's one of our governance research managers. From my understanding, it's like a lot of writing to like for example to politicians if you have like someone you want to make like a case for like passing type of some type of law, like understanding something better, like doing advocacy. Strategy seems like a pretty big deal within like governance and like AI policy, where you just want to like understand fairly well how you can communicate something, how you can make sense of how things in the future might change. Doing this like really well, yeah, is obviously is benefits from like technical research and technical knowledge, but usually it's like I think more better paired with just like having a really good like structural thinking and like maybe thinking about like how historical events played out. So yeah, definitely also benefits from benefits mostly from non-technical knowledge. Maybe should maybe like circle in a little bit what people are like, what specific like non-technical work people are excited about hearing more about. Also, someone just raised their hand like a little bit before. I also want to give them the chance to quickly talk about that, about the question they have. Abigail, please.
So here, in the meantime, can you speak a little bit to the level someone would need to be at to be considered for like frontier lab research work?
Yeah. Depends on the position. Like in the beginning, I made like the case for like someone who was very much outside of their like area of expertise, who applied to like a position and got into that role. That was because the area that they were excited about was like fairly new and unestablished. I think if you wanted to get, for example, into like wanting to get into the frontier lab and you want to get into let's say inference, like language model inference. That seems like one of the like things where you need to have like the most like raw capability of like understanding these models, and seems like particularly difficult to get into. It's also like arguable if it's like safety work. If you say it's for a safety company, maybe this fits. Yeah, in the limit, I would say it depends like a lot on the position that you're excited about, and how established this field is. Like maybe a good case is for reinforcement learning, which is where within machine learning arguably pretty established. I would guess that within like within reinforcement learning, you kind of require like more background to get into the frontier lab and contribute to reinforcement learning. Then, for example, if you are into even if you are into interpretability, which is still pretty established within AI safety, but this is my gut intuition, and I think it will depend a lot on what type of role people will hire for and what people are excited about. Chama, do you have a question? Happy to hear it.
If you have questions, put them in the Slido muting and unmute.
I'm happy to do some live questions if people have them.
Okay, I
Um,
can turn that on.
Like one question that I saw here, which I kind of like, is how do I like I'm a traditional security. I'm from traditional security and privacy. How do I move laterally into a safety, which has its own language and reinvents and sometimes reinvents the wheel without starting from scratch? I think if you look at sort of the mapping between the phrase that you have to learn, is it's not that crazy, I guess. How like moving from laterally from uh, security to a safety. I would definitely think that people like especially for like people who work on security and like info security, that they have like a fairly easy time pivoting into a safety because these people are unicorns. They don't exist a lot in a safety, and we could definitely use them. Okay, Abigail, do you want to try it? I think you had your hand raised highest first.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much for this presentation. I really appreciate it. I just had a question. So I'm somebody with a social scientific background, and I'm currently completing a master's degree in social scientific approaches to AI safety and just sort of data ethics. I feel like I'm running into trouble trying to market myself, especially in applying for fellowships as well as jobs. And I'm wondering if you have any tips just to getting over the barrier of, obviously I have a non-technical background, but I still feel as though my expertise is relevant to this field. Do you have any advice for maybe language or somebody like me?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, awesome that you want to get into air safety. Yeah, I think like sometimes it's definitely like a little bit difficult to understand like the research that someone has done in the past that would maybe make them like suitable to pursue like a air safety fellowship. So maybe like thinking about like how to make it like very tangible, like what you did and how this is like impactful would be very helpful. But I would also consider like you doing like a graduate degree or like a master degree, or like a thesis on this at least, that you can have just like more evidence of you thinking about this like maybe from different angles. And yeah, I think it would be like helpful in your situation to just like get your hands more dirty, do like a different project that explores like maybe a different angle. Yeah, but happy to hear what you think about that. Also, we have James who wants to raise his hand right now, one of our governance research manager. Um, James, were you planning to answer to the previous questions a bit?
Yeah, just double checking that you can hear me.
I can hear you well.
Perfect. Yeah, just to say to Abigail, so my master's was also in social sciences. And I think there's like a few ways you can approach this specifically for like someone from maybe like not a non-STEM background. I'd imagine you've probably got like some experience in, for instance, like statistics, mixed methods research, but also like playing to the strengths specifically of social sciences. So this could be pointing at qualitative methods, at like the core skills that you're going to find at any advanced degree. The research skills, literature reviews, synthesis of research more generally. I think you want to be able to like pull on these broader skills, play to the strengths of your specific field, and then, as I think Tillman says, don't be afraid to branch out and try something radically different. But you'll always be incorporating that perspective that you've picked up through your research so far. And also, like, feel free to reach out directly, and I'm happy to chat about this in more detail.
Awesome, James. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Couple minutes left. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Tillman, for coming on. Great presentation. And thank you, James. Pivotal's 2026 Q3 Fellowship closes May 3rd. So if you're thinking about applying, make sure to apply. Next week, same time, same place, we're having Safer AI on to talk about what they do, measuring risk at Frontier Labs. If you like this and you're not already in a Blue Dot course, take the AGI strategy course, bluedot.org courses, of course. And then the recording will go up on YouTube, and you'll get an email with all the links. Just want to say thank you again, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Awesome.